All right, I'm here with my friend Alex from 1008. Alex, my name is Fabiano. I am a
Hey,
journalist
Fabiano.
of a website called Have Cultura. This is a Brazilian website that we talk a lot about heavy metal music and punk rock songs, this kind of stuff. And like I told you before, it's a pleasure to talk to you because I'm a huge fan. If Jeff Market and Appetite for Charlie, bands like that, man. I'm sorry about my English. My English is not so good, but I think that we can keep a conversation, right?
Of course, thanks for having me, Fabiano.
All right, man. The first question that I want to do for you is about the new album that was just released. I think that last month, yeah, is Wanna Wing and a Prayer. And man, you delivered a very huge album, so technical and with a lot of melodic riffs and things like that, exactly like the Thousand Weeks you used to deliver to us like a personal signature. So I would like to ask to you, how was the process of the production, this album, the composition of the songs and things like that?
Yeah, this came a little bit as a surprise for us as well, because the release was kind of abrupt, like no one was expecting it, and we didn't promote anything at all. And the story behind it is that we actually were supposed to release another record, but we had some sort of issues with it concerning like the vinyl pressing, and then some issues connected to the label was supposed to release it, and so we released a single in order to try and promote that other album, maybe uh, some months ago, 1 year ago, I don't remember. The other song, the one called the Spiral of Our Own Absurdity, and that came out, and that was supposed to be the single of that other album. Then we had a lot of problems with that, and we haven't solved them yet. So we're still waiting it to be ready to be released. And but too much time was passing by in the meantime, so we had enough time actually to put together this other album, and we didn't want to wait any longer. So we came up with the idea of releasing it first, and then wait and see what happens with that other album that was about to be released earlier, actually. And so we're keeping the other one for later, maybe the end of this year or early next year. But for now, we decided we wanted to release something, so we put this album out already because we were really eager to release something in the first place. And it took it took kind of a long time to record and mix and master the whole thing, because anyway we had that other album already ready yet, so we took our time to do everything properly, and we it's been a long process. It took months, and yeah, but eventually it was ready. It's been ready for months, so we were like, why don't we put this out, since it's there, it's ready to be released, and then we see what happens with that other album and maybe release it later. So yeah, that's the story around it. The pandemic has been a really hard period for everyone, and for music, for bands, it was crazy. So we put together this a huge session in the studio with more than 30 songs, like demos, old demos, songs, new songs, old songs, and whatever. And we basically put all the ones we preferred together for On a Wing and a Prayer, and all the other ones and leftovers from other albums ended up on that other collection album we were supposed to release earlier, but it's gonna be released, I don't know, later on.
All right. Even for us, it was a surprise, because I was not waiting a new album or something like that. And suddenly I saw on Spotify this released and I got excited, man. Some friends of mine went and saw it they got home, man. Suddenly, man, that other weeks released the album. And so we got the first thing that I did is listen to the album and to spread it on Instagram, and that was amazing.
Thanks.
And thanks a
Thank you, man.
lot about it. The album is incredible. Congratulations about it. And
Thank
I would
you.
like to know a little bit about the lyrics or something like that. If the composition of the lyrics and it depends on only of you, or is the whole band that used to do the composition of the lyrics, and what is about what is the subject that the lyrics talking to about it?
So I would say probably every song stands alone by itself. So there's not like an entire concept around the whole album, but every song speaks for itself. So we have some songs. The lyrics of some of the songs were inspired by the history of the band, going back even to Jet Market. Some other lyrics were about personal experiences, and some other were about our well, my perception of the world, things that make me happy or angry, sad, or whatever. So every once in a while I take notes when something happens to me in everyday life, and then I try to Frankenstein all these thoughts together and put together lyrics for the songs.
All right. And talking about the recording of this album, I would like to. I can see that you. I think that you are in a kind of a studio. Is I think that is your own studio. Yes.
Yeah. That's been my main job for more than 15 years now.
Yes.
So I've been
How's my
recording my
studio?
bands, but that's right. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would like to know if all the Thousand OX album was recorded in this studio, in your studio.
Yeah, it was actually recorded here, and two of us live abroad. So Davis from Scotland and Ray's from Venezuela, but he lives in Berlin in Germany. So we uh, we always try to meet up and record something here in the studio, but with jobs and life in general and everything, it's not always easy. So sometimes I just send the guys the sessions. They record their own instruments at home, and they send me back the tracks, and everything gets reamped and mixed here. And sometimes they come here to record as well. But yeah, everything was recorded here, and the bass was recorded at the bass player's studio, Matteo's studio. He has another studio here in Rome, not too far from here. So yeah, it's mostly done here, but not entirely, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, keeping talking about the album, do you have some song that you think that is special to produce, that was special to be produced, or some song that you prefer in this album, something like that?
Um, I don't know. There's a song called Southwest that I wrote for my mom in a hard period we had with our family a couple of years back. And I don't know, maybe I particularly cherish that one because of this reason. And also the first track, A Mission to Kill Ambition, that one really speaks of the how hard can it be to be in like in a small independent band and trying to get shows and try to get some sort of I don't know, some sort of benefit from touring and always putting a lot of time and effort. And sometimes you get nothing back, or well, slightly something back. So it can be frustrating. And yeah, for us, it's been like a main feature of the band for years and years. So yeah, that song was some sort of venting out, some sort of like how do you say that, like living off of some steam, I don't know. But yeah, yeah, those two maybe are like lyrics wise, the meaning of the songs are the ones I feel closer. But yeah, every song in the album, we like them all. It's some sort of a best of everything we've been writing for the last 3-4 years maybe.
And I love it, man, because if you, I'm sure that you heard the dedication album that is an album by After the Fall. I don't know if you know this album. Dedication, do you know this album? After the Fall
From After the
album.
Fall.
From
Yeah, I think
by
I've listened to it. Yeah, yeah.
yes, if you see the story behind this album, you see that that album was dedicated to some friend of the After the Falls guys. You know that these guys there is a cancer or something like that. So this
All right.
album was dedicated to him. So I love it. I think that this is so beautiful because we can express, we can keep our feelings. You know, we can deliver to the people, express ourselves. You know, uh, by the music, by the art, and this is amazing. So talking about expressions and talking about messaging, stories behind music, behind songs and things like that. I would like to know a little bit because I realized that I think that the most of the Thousand Oaks albums cover, there is a guy, there is a person, and there is a story behind it. So it's
Mhm.
like you maybe the band would like to to tell some story or something like that, a perspective about something. Do you have something to say about it? Can you explain it to us?
Well, yeah. As I was saying before, it's usually both inspired by like everyday life, or I have to admit I steal a lot of stuff from movies or books. I mean, whenever I hear something, I don't know, a good line that inspires me, a good quote, I always try to steal something from it. And then I combine all these thoughts and notes um, together, and try to make them sound the way the demos sounded actually. Because something we do is when we write a song, we always write the music first, and then I sing on it, but I sing on it with working lyrics. I mean, with fake lyrics, just to get an idea of what I want the voice to sound like. And then I listen to it like a million times to correct it, to see if everything works the way I want it to. And then when I'm about to put real lyrics on the song, it's always hard because I have to stick to the sounds I'm used to, because I've already listened to the song sounding like that forever. And so, yeah, the hardest part of the lyrics for me is to try to adapt the lyrics I have, the lyrics I wrote, in the way that they sound like the demo we made in the first place. But yeah, the meaning or the story behind the songs, it's it's about like both everyday life or everyday experiences we have with family or friends, from that to any kind of like thoughts about the world or how the world is going, and how yeah, I mean, from little things to big things. So it's a pretty wide spectrum, I would say.
Yes, I have a little curiosity because that EP, The Hell is Empty, if you see the cover, the art cover of the album, sounds very similar of the Ruiner from by Alham Screen. So is there
Okay.
any reference
Okay.
between it or something like that? Some influence or I don't know.
So no, there was no intent to homage Will and Scream whatsoever. But I actually never realized that. I mean, now that you're telling me, yeah, there's some resemblance. I mean, with those bats on. You mean Ruiner, right? That's the album.
Yeah, the winner. Yeah.
And yeah, no, but we actually like this artist a lot. Um, so we actually bought from a website a lot of the illustrations by this artist, who I think is Thailandese, if I'm not mistaken. And then we just go for our favorite ones, and whenever we write a new album, we try to pick between the ones we already have and already like, and then go for one of those. But it's not made like especially for the album. I mean, so we never asked for to the artist to make something like Will Scream, or to make something at all. Like we just use illustrations that are already made by this artist and not made especially for our album.
All right. And now I would like to ask you a little bit about influences because I know a lot of bands from your country, Italy, yeah, that I love a lot. For example, I don't know if you know, I'm sure that you know it, but Beer Bong and Rap Noise are classical bands, 90 bands that I love at all. So I would like to ask you if these bands has had some influence in your job, in your role, and I would like that you talk a little more about your influence on only not on punk rock songs, punk rock music, but if you have some influence about heavy metal music and other different kind of music or something like that.
Yeah, so the Italian scene uh, has always been full of pretty good bands, and we both back in the day, but to this day actually we have always been listening to Italian bands as much as foreign bands. And so I think it's safe to say that we've been both influenced by like big foreign bands and Italian bands as well. Yeah, we know Beer Bong. I mean, we might have played together a couple of times during the years, but we don't know them personally. I mean, we're not close. Maybe we just know them. I mean, like we see each other show, we just say hi, but we're not close friends. But we've been friends with a lot of other bands, like I don't know, Action Man, Seed and Feed, Question Marks. I don't know, Coffee Showers. There's a million good Italian bands that we've been strongly influenced by. Now I play with 7 Years. I don't know if you know them. That band from Livorno. I'm playing drums with them, so um, it's like a big family. You know, everyone knows everyone in the Italian scene. It's been like that forever, and we've always been organizing show for each other. So it's like a closed circuit. We all knew and know each other. We've been friends for many years now.
All
And
right,
well,
and
talking about yeah,
no, you can keep talking too.
yeah, and on the other band, of course, we've been always super influenced by like well, American or European bands. We've always been super fans of like Propagandy, Satanic Surfers, Big Wig, that kind of circuit. You know, Belvedere, Strike Anywhere, Strung Out, all these bands. You know, that kind of sound. That's what we always loved.
All the huge bands, man, that I love as well. So I would like to ask you about the Italian scene, you know, and how it's going on the correct bands, and if you used to listen to a lot of Italian bands that's happening right now. I know a band called Ida Day, is this name, am I correct? Call It
What's
a
the name
Day,
again? Sorry.
Call It a Day,
Call it a day. Call it
yeah,
a day. But they are
exactly.
from France.
For France, I'm sorry, man, I thought that was
Yeah,
from
yeah.
it.
But we actually played with Alex. The guitar player played with us a
Oh,
couple of shows. last
Oh,
year. So we
this
know
is
each
why
other.
I
We know each
thought
other.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
that.
Got mixed up.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but I know as well that Thousand Degrees is another great band,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and Actual Man is another band that I love so much. Actual Man is
Yeah, with
amazing.
Action Man, we're very close friends. I mean, we've been friends forever, and we talk to each other from time to time. We call. I mean, we're close friends with Action Man.
And do you have another band or other bands that you can introduce it to us? That
Yeah, there's this band which is probably maybe my all-time favorite Italian band. It's called Seed and Feed. I also had the pleasure to mix their latest album here at the studio, and also my fiance surprised me with like a surprise birthday party last January and invited them to play here in Rome. And I've seen them play a million times. I have all their records. I really like them, and I think it's I'm pretty sure that their sound influenced my songwriting, during the years because I've listened to them a lot. The way the drummer plays and the way the songs were arranged, and a lot of their sound, I think, kind of slip through, and now it's in our sound as well. I mean, in our songwriting and in the way we see music, we write music.
all right. So it's something that I always wanted to ask it for you, man. We don't see it a lot of times. You know, he's the drummer at the same time being the main singer. You know, this is must be so harder, man. Man, sometimes I keep wondering, man, how this guy can do it so well. You know. So I would like to ask to you, um, how did you have this idea to play the drums and the singer at the same time, or how was the process behind to learn to do how to do it? Because for sure this is not so simple, yeah.
uh, so drums are like a big toy. I mean, everyone likes to play drums even on their lap or like that, but it's like a big toy everyone can enjoy. And it was the first 2000s where our drummer back then decided to quit the band. So we had to call another friend of ours to record the first Jet Market album, Everyday Casualties. And then after that, we've been looking for a drummer for like 6 or 7 months. We had some tryouts with maybe 4 or 5 different guys, and none of them seemed to be a good fit for the band. And since I could play a little bit of drums already, then we decided to give it a try. And well, everything started from the idea that maybe Rodrigo from the Satanic Surfers could do it. Maybe I could try, and maybe I could do it too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty unusual. So we didn't have many like models to be inspired by. I mean, just a handful of drummers were the main singers back then. But we gave it a try, and the beginning it was hard and it was rough, but since the beginning it felt like it could be done. So basically, we just kept on trying, and we were, super young and enthusiastic. So we were practicing all the time, and so things came together kind of easily, actually. And the thing about playing drums and singing is, I always say that it's not too hard coordination wise, because a lot of parts from the Thousand Oaks songs, for example, I wouldn't be able to play the guitars and sing because the guitars are doing some riffs that are not easy to play if you sing as well, because the voice and the guitars have two different rhythms, so it's hard to do them together. But with the drums, if I play a steady bit, it's easier actually. So it depends. I think it's actually very tiring. I mean, it's like, every time we have to play a show, it's always a very very tiring process because not living in the same city basically makes us practice only when we have to go on tour, or only when we have a show, because we don't have the kind of routine where you gather with the other guys once a week or once every 2 weeks, because it's just two of us living here in Rome. So when we practice, it's only drums and bass. It's not very enjoyable, let's say, but we do it like practicing a sport, like we have to prepare for a tournament. So we go there, we practice, 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 just to make it like as good as we can. But the last 2 days of practice, when the other two guys fly in and come to Rome, and we play together for a couple of days before leaving for a tour or for a show, then it's when we really enjoy playing together. Because after playing, I don't know, 2 months with just drums and bass, all of a sudden, like the guitars come in, and the backing vocals with the harmony, and it feels like amazing to finally play full band. So if we probably lived all in the same town, we would be playing, yeah, once a week or twice a week, or I don't know, twice a month or whatever. But like now, it's really tiring because you have to stop, and then you just stop for, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, and then you jump back on the drums, and it's very hard because it's really tiring because it's fast and you have to hit hard. And then when you feel ready, you start singing as well, and it's super tiring already. So yeah, it feels more like sport than music, that you have to
Yeah.
be really in shape.
Congratulations about it, man, because it's so I try to play drums, but I only to play at the same time to sing, and this is so sick, man. This is not in person that, yeah, for sure, like you told me, we must a person that practice a lot can get it, but we must to have this person must to have a lot of dedication about it. So congratulations about it, man. This is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
my last question that I want to ask for you is about your last Brazilian tour that it was in 2018. How was this tour? What was your impressions about it? And if you I would like to ask you if you knew some Brazilian bands, something like that.
It all started when we got in touch with Dalin Focaccio from 69 Enfermos,
Yeah.
because they came to Europe a couple of times, and I booked a show for them in Rome, and then we started talking about the idea of maybe we could go to Brazil and play a tour there, which was a dream. I mean, of ours. It's been like a dream for many years to go to South America and play a show there. So then the idea started to, you know, started to become something real at some point when Darlene offered to get in touch with promoters and actually see if we could get some shows there in Brazil. And so it happened. I mean, he pulled off booking 5 shows for us. So we don't have a lot of time these days again for because of the jobs and families and stuff. So the tour was really tight. I mean, it was really packed. We was very very fast, like in and out. And so we basically came to Brazil for just 5 days. It was 5 days and 5 shows. So we flew in, played a show the first night, then played a show every day, and then played the last show in Porto Alegre on the last day, and we just flew back right after. So on one hand, it was amazing, but on the other hand, I mean, I was very sorry that I couldn't visit the country at all. I mean, we
Okay.
didn't have time to have any day off to hang out with the guys or to visit some places. So it was super fast, but still, we enjoyed it a lot. The shows were amazing. We had a lot of fun. And again, it was it's been a dream for years, so it finally came true, and we were super happy and stoked to be there.
Alex, I hope that you come to the Brazil again in the future. All right. And thanks a lot about this interview. And if you have something to say to the Brazilian fans, or if you have something to say, you can free to do it right now. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, it'll be crazy amazing to come back again. It would be so nice. So I don't know, fingers crossed. Never say never. Who knows? Maybe we can pull it off again and come back one day. Thank you very much for the interview. Thanks for having me. And I don't know, obrigado, and thanks a lot for everything.
That's perfect. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
And it was a huge pleasure for me. All right. I am, like I told you, a lot of times. I am a huge fan since the jet in that market, and it was a pleasure for me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks.
See you later, man.
See you later.